Africa is calling for calm ahead of the official announcement of election results in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The delay in releasing the results is causing concern among world leaders. At the same time, an attempted military coup in Gabon has been brought under control. The coup plotters expressed dissatisfaction with the government of ailing President Ali Bongo. To discuss these issues, I'm joined by Dr. Koumba, who is the president of the Gabon Diaspora in South Africa and a member of the African Diaspora Forum. Good evening, sir. Thanks very much for your time. Let's start with Gabon, if you will. From what you know, what on the ground could have led the coup plotters to believe that they will have widespread support for what they tried to do?
Look, Vuyo, it is at this stage a bit earlier to give you a straight answer, simply because it came as a surprise for not only all the African, but mainly to the Gabonese people. You see, if we recall from the history, we had an incident like that happened almost 2 years ago with regards to Abba Minko, who also decided to have a coup during the investigation of the ICC in Gabon. So it was actually an incident that was created with regards to the result that happened with the election. And then so far, we truly believe that it is the same sentiment as well that was actually manifesting, simply to the fact that you will realize that those people, those soldiers, are from what we call the Garde Républicaine, which is mainly the one that takes care of the presidency, and those people are extremely young. So according to the assessment that we have so far, we know that the Minister of Communication said that they've been taking the situation and it is under control, but right now we receive other news that states that actually they've not taken anyone. So there is a suspicion when it comes to information, basically, when it transpires in Gabon. Right?
But from what you know, how widespread is dissatisfaction about,
Look, Vuyo, widespread is... I would say we are talking about a regime for 51 years. Only one family, the Bongo family, that has been in power for 51 years. Even if I ask you, are you going to celebrate those years? I mean, it is quite obvious that people need change and they need an alternative. Irrespective of the popularity that Ali Bongo may have, we truly believe that there is a bit of suspicions when it comes to his stay in power and is the result of the previous election in 2016. So it is extremely widespread. I mean, since this morning, since 4, because the coup happened at 4, we receive news from France, we receive news from Gabon, from our friends and family, we receive news from Cameroon, from our neighbor countries. You know the effect that it can have. Things like that can encourage Cameroonian, Congolese to also do the same thing. So it is a very, very, very delicate situation.
But why then, what is making it possible for them, for this family, to remain in power for more than 50 years?
Look, we are...
Why is it seemingly difficult? Because yes, perhaps narrowly, but Ali Bongo did win the 2016 election, and you've just conceded that they remain popular. So what is making them so popular? What is making it difficult for those who believe there's time for change for them to achieve that?
Look, you see, when you have the support of an exogenous influence, Gabon is colonized by French people. So they control most of the wealth of the country, of this country. We are talking about 1,800,000 people, less than the population in Soweto. So easy to manipulate, easy to actually maneuver around. So when you have people like that has the support of the French government and who's actually following the instruction and the orders done by this country, it is with no surprise that situation like that will occur. And you know, this situation is not only specific to Gabon. It is actually spread all around the colony that is Francophone.
Mm-hmm. I want us to talk a bit, or to move perhaps a little to the DRC. I mean, we're still awaiting the results. Of course, there have been many people, and there seems to be a tendency on the continent, people would stand up, announce results. And both South Africa and the African Union are actually calling, as well as SADC, I mean, for calm, to say people should wait for the formal announcement of results. Do you support that view as the diaspora, especially on the back of what happened in Zimbabwe, for example, where the opposition got out, declared themselves the winner, and called on the people to take to the streets? Now, we know what disaster followed. Several people ended up being dead. One is not justifying the killing of those people by the soldiers. But, you know, there are such consequences when everyone just stands up and declares a result. Do you support the move to actually wait, for everyone to wait until results are formally announced?
As a young intellectual African, I will tell you that nothing is done without any sacrifices. And we've learned the hard way through the history that happened in South Africa in terms of apartheid. So when you have a country like Gabon that has never been under instability, and you have a very extremely rich country like Congo, DRC, that have been in so much instability, sometimes you have the feeling that those organizations such as the AU or the SADC are not doing quite enough. In fact, we have the feeling that it is just an organization that are there to serve their own interest, but not the interest of the Congolese. So irrespective of anything that will be decided by the Congolese, I will support it, because the destiny of the people remains on the people, not on those fake leaders, people who pretend to be actually helping the country, but at the end you realize that nothing is done. How can you imagine that Congo, DRC, is the richest country in the whole world, in the whole entire world? We have everything, but the poverty is at stake. The rate of poverty is so much. You see Congolese people are spreading everywhere due to wars, due to anger, due to famine, and etc. And then people are calling for calm. I think this is just a mere statement that has nothing to do with it.
What do you think should happen? How do we deal with this? Because do remember that we're coming from an era where soldiers could just wake up from the barracks the one morning, declare themselves rulers of a nation. No election would have taken place. Even the flawed ones we're still talking about in many parts of the continent. What then is the best way to deal with
the first view? It is simple. Let African people deal with their own matter. We have enough of American, UK's, European, always getting involved into Africans' affairs only due to their own interest. This is where the problem is, really. The problem is not with the African leaders per se. The problem is not with the population. It is with the fact that there's too much involvement due to the colonialization. And it is still happening now. Everybody is aware that China tried to recolonize the African continent in another way, but we can see that. Us who are young and who can see, who are really worried about our future, we will not take it lightly. The first thing, that, as I was saying, is that they must leave Africa and the African to deal with their own matter. Africans are not children, and we know how to deal with. We know how to talk. We have this Ubuntu ways. We are African. We know how to solve our problem. But as long as everybody is trying to create a sabotage around the region so that they can benefit from the wealth and then pretend that the wars, the chaos is due to the fact that there is no leadership and so forth. No, we know exactly that is what is happening. What is happening is that there is a huge amount of influence, external forces that are there to just exploit the country and the continent of this world, this most beautiful continent. Yes.
Okay, that's where we're going to leave it for this evening. Thanks very much for coming through, Dr. Koumba, who is the president of the Gabon Diaspora in South Africa, but also a member of the African Diaspora Forum.